iFILM, London. iFILM, London.
This is Kugan Cassius for iFILM London. We're at Planet Hollywood here for Nathan Cleverly's press conference to announce his fight on Saturday the 10th of November at the Staples Centre. With me I've got promoter Frank Warren. How are you, Frank?
I'm good, how are you doing?
Very well. Can you just tell us what happened with the Uzulkov fight as in regards to this?
Well, what happened was that an opportunity came along for Nathan to fight in the States, to fight on the show at the Staples Centre on a Golden Boy promotion on the 10th of November. And I weighed up the situation and felt that that's the direction we're going to take, so because it will force, I believe, the Americans, guys out there like Tavares, Cloud, Shumanov, who's based in the States, and even Bernard Hopkins, into fighting him. He's the youngest out of all of them, and I think the exposure that he'll get in the States will make these fights happen, make them easier to happen.
Obviously, I read on a press release that Junior, Witter and Frankie Gav will now fight on Thursday, the 1st of November at York Hall, and Enzo and Over will fight on the 9th at Liverpool Olympia.
That's correct. So both of those are right, yeah.
The rest of the undercard fighters, are they going to be spread across other fights?
That's correct. They'll probably be on those various shows. One of them will come out and also fight on the show in LA. We're making our mind up who that's going to be. But you know, it's a shame for Cardiff. But at the end of the day, I've got to look at what's good for Nathan, and what's good for Nathan is to take this opportunity.
In your opinion, how marketable is Nathan Cleverly as a fighter in America? Very
marketable. You know, he can fight. He's a good fighter. He's a young fighter. For him to go out there and actually be involved in that promotion, I think is at this stage of his career is a good thing to do. And I think that once they see him in the ring, remember some of these fights have been shown in the States on Epix. He's had about 2 or 3 showings in the States, but this for him I think will take it to another level, and that's where we need to be.
So obviously Nathan comes through this fight next year. Possibly we could be looking at one of these massive unification fights with Luxor Shumanov or one of these guys, Tavares, Cloud.
If he comes through, which I hope he will, and I expect him to come through the fight, then in late February, early March, he will have a unification fight, no doubt. No doubt.
All right, Frank, have you got anything else that's been going on recently?
Yeah, just been working hard as always, delivering fights, putting shows on and making good fights for the fans that you can see on Box Nation. Not ducking fights, making fights. That's what we do. We make the fights happen and make sure our guys get into big fights. That's what we do.
I read your open letter to Eddie Hearn, which was on Boxing Scene the other day. Why did you feel it was necessary to write that letter?
Well, because of the comments that he made, that he had a derisory offer for Gavin Rees. It wasn't a derisory offer, it was a very good offer for him. And then they talked about we asked for 5 options. That was a nonsense as well. And I just want to set the record straight. It's not about letting people know what you're paying fighters. You know, when you get people complaining they don't get enough, and you know, to say it's a derisory offer was wrong of him. If he didn't want the fight, then just say you don't want the fight. There's nothing wrong with not making a fight. If you feel that your guy or the fighter himself doesn't want it, that's good enough. But don't make out that it's for other reasons. You know, that was a good offer for him. It was a valid offer for him. You know, let's think about it. Gavin Rees' fight before that, he fought in France. I know he's never received that type of money. Gavin Rees won a world title fight with me when I promoted him in Cardiff, and he done a good job. He won it, but I didn't do a good job that night. There were 400 people in the venue. But him and Ricky Burns would have been a good fight. He'd have been a good opponent for Ricky Burns, a fight that I think Ricky Burns would have won. But anyway, it's not to be because they don't want it, so we move on, and obviously we'll be announcing Ricky Burns' opponent tomorrow, his new opponent tomorrow. But all I just want to do is set the record straight. You know, so much stuff is being said at the moment, and a lot of it is just, I think, is all like sound bites. You know, let's see some of these fights happen. I've not stopped them happening. I'm the one who's making the offers. No one's come at me to make any offers for our fighters. I'm making offers to other guys to give the fans what the fans want, and that's delivering the best fights, and if they're best and they're good domestic fights, even more so, because that's what the fans like, good quality domestic fights, and not people reinventing history and just, you know, saying things that didn't happen and weren't right. You know, Eddie Hearn's a young guy. He's done well for himself. You know, he's lucky that I walked away, I believe, from Sky. I walked away from Sky over a year ago, long before they dumped Ricky Hatton and dumped Frank Maloney unceremoniously. I thought it was dreadful the way they treated him. But I walked away. Had I not walked away, I'm quite sure he wouldn't have been the only guy promoting there. In fact, I'm very confident in that. But the fact remains that did happen. But let's not try and change history. We know we all know what happened. We knows what the offers were. He knows we've made previous offers to fighters, and he knows that he's turned them down. And he's turned them down for the simple reason is because he has to fill dates on Sky TV. And now I believe that's to the detriment of the fans. Forget about if the boxers don't want it, that's up to them. But for him to say any other reason is nonsense. He's doing it because he has to fill those dates, and he hasn't got the fighters to fill the dates. It's to the detriment of the fans. The fans are not getting the fights that they should see. And don't anybody keep saying I keep guys apart. I don't. I make matches with my fighters. Cleverly, Bellew was made, Groves, DeGale was made. Chisora Hay. I make them. I make those fights because that's what the fans want to see. And I've been doing that for years and years. If they're involved with me, if I can make it happen, I'll make it happen. I won't duck out of them. We make the fights happen. So please do not keep this nonsense going around, really feeding off of my offers that we're giving these guys publicity. So,
Frank, what's the main reason? I asked Eddie Hearn this the other day. What's the main reason that the fans can't see enough fights between your fighters and Eddie Hearn's fighters? What is the sole reason, or if there is a sole reason?
I've just told you the sole reason, because he will not allow his fighters to fight on other promoters' shows. Simple as that, unless they're on Sky TV. That's why. That is the only reason. But Eddie Hearn is what he is. He does what he does. I make my fights happen. My fighters fight. I've fought on other people's shows. We had Derek Chisora fighting on Channel 5 against Tyson Fury. They've happened. We've had a couple of our guys even fight on prize fighters. We've put them in. I've got no problem. I'll do what's best for my fighters. But you can't say it's ever happened the other way round. You tell me when it's ever happened. You can't, can you? You can't say. You know why? Because it's never happened. You know why it's never happened? Because they can't fill the dates. That's why.
All right, Frank. Thank you very much for talking to iFILM London again. And like I said, we look forward. When's your next show?
My next show is
9th of November, would it be?
Yeah, no, we've got a show. We've got November the 1st.
November the 1st, sorry, your call. Witter and Gavin.
We've got a couple of other shows that we're putting together. We're going to be on a couple of shows this month.
Thank you very much for talking to iFILM London. Thank you, Frank.